Hello to those who may stumble upon this. I'm posting this as a personal blog journal. It is the 2nd of April of 2025, and unfortunately, a celebrity that I've admired since my childhood, Val Kilmer, a very good actor. He was a very good Batman. I mean, a lot of people never really thought that he was the best Batman. I mean, they say he was good, but he wasn't really great. But I think he was a little better of a Batman than people gave him credit for personally. And he was in Batman Forever. Sadly, he didn't come back for Batman and Robin, even though George Clooney did what he could and put on a pretty good performance despite the fact that people may love him or hate him for the role and all that, and that it looked kind of more like a toy commercial compared to what Batman Forever did. You know, I'm talking about Batman and Robin when George Clooney played Batman, but beside the point, it's sad to know that as of yesterday, it seems Val Kilmer, a talented celebrity, has sadly passed away. It's bad breaking news. But yeah, it's what's been said. I mean, Val Kilmer, I mean, he was a very good actor, and he's been in a lot of great movies. I mean, I haven't seen every movie he's been in, but I have seen maybe a handful of them at least. I mean, I know other than Batman Forever, I've also seen him in movies like At First Sight. That's a pretty good, sweet, thought provoking film about a blind man that he plays, and he actually ends up getting like cataracts or something that like causes him to start seeing later and stuff. And he he even had Nathan Lane in it as like some kind of therapist or something, and he did a pretty good job in it too. But yeah, Val Kilmer, he's also been in other movies like The Saint. It's kind of a controversial film, but I personally thought The Saint was a pretty good classic for its time, and that's the main reason, as I understand it, why he didn't come back to do Batman and Robin, because of his commitment towards The Saint. And yeah, he was also Doc Holliday, the iconic Doc Holliday in Tombstone. That's a movie that came out about 2 years before Batman Forever, and it was a Western. He pulled off the Southern accent pretty nicely and with so much charm. And yeah, he was just a very admirable actor, and he also voiced Moses in The Prince of Egypt. That's another movie from my childhood that I actually like quite often. I remember seeing that in the theater, being completely crazy about it, and it was even influenced off of a Bible scripture and chapter in the book of Exodus. Only it was toned down to be fitted for children to watch, because the things that happened in the Bible were pretty, you know, played out in such supernatural ways, because times were different at the time, and it seemed like a lot of that stuff of God's power was more visible. It's like you could see it more rather than just the wind blowing and all that and the rain falling. And Val Kilmer even voiced God himself in that movie too. He didn't just voice Moses in it. And he was in Real Genius. I mean, I watched that movie a couple times, but sadly, he wasn't really a main character in it. He was only in like a few parts of it. It mostly just had that one kid in it named Gabe Jarrett, who played a character named Mitch and everything, and he like even plays a prank on this kid named Kent. I don't want to go that much further into detail, but yeah, it was a pretty funny scene in the film from what I kind of remember. But of course, even a year later, he would play the iconic Iceman in Top Gun. Him and Tom Cruise alike. Yeah, because Val Kilmer, yeah, he was definitely one ace pilot in that film when he played Ice. I mean, even though Maverick is the one that a lot of people kind of cheered for in it, since he was like the protagonist, while Ice was somewhat of an antagonist of the film. I mean, I haven't seen the movie in quite a while, but I watched it maybe 2 or 3 times in my life. I even saw the sequel, Maverick, where he returns as Ice. he didn't even have but like one role and one line in it. Sadly, it's just sad to know that he passed away so unexpectedly. Though I mean, I know his health was kind of in poor condition over those last few years of his life. He wasn't really acting anymore, except for in just very little stuff. And I even remember back like 5 years ago, when I went to Fanboy Expo in 2019, me and my brother were going to go to the following one in 2020, and Val Kilmer was one of the invited celebrity guests there. And as I understand it, Val Kilmer was going to show up, and I think his condition was like a lot better then than it like was even around the time the COVID spread and everything. I think he was like able to talk more and stuff back then, and it would have been an honor to have got to meet him and get an autograph, but sadly that day never came. And I just never thought that he would pass away so unexpectedly. He was only 65 years old, and that's not really a very old age to live. I mean, I know it says we're only expected to live 70 years. Anything above that is just an extra. But, I mean, I'm thankful that I had Val Kilmer in my life. I mean, not exactly physically in it, but I got to watch Batman Forever and several of his other movies that had him in it. He was such an admirable actor and star. He really, had that appearance, even though he looked kind of intimidating to some extent. I mean, that's pretty much what paved the way for him to play Batman, after all. I mean, you have to have that brooding, stoic appearance first off. And I probably won't go too far into this. I mean, I just want to make this good and short. After all, even as I said before, I'm doing limited uploads this year. Probably won't be more active until next year. Anyway, rest in peace, Val Kilmer. You were a great movie star and actor and a very terrific Batman. I'm just going to add this one more thing on how I also think Val Kilmer was such a great Batman. I mean, he had the mysterious allure with him, even more so than Michael Keaton, I kind of thought, because even when he was Bruce Wayne, he didn't act that flamboyant in order to distinguish himself from Batman. I mean, sure, you want to put on a good disguise so nobody really knows the other part of your double life. Sure, true, but I mean, Val Kilmer didn't really go beyond extremes to do that. Really, I mean, he at the same time kept it good and did everything he could to be discreet on when he played Bruce Wayne and to distinguish his Batman part of his persona. But yeah, that's the one thing I think he got better than Michael Keaton was, putting a lot of balance on Bruce Wayne and Batman, so to speak, rather than trying too hard to distinguish them. And like I said, I think he might have had, well, I don't know if he was more brooding than Keaton. I mean, when Keaton was under the bat cowl, he definitely had probably more of the broodingness to him than what Val Kilmer did. But Val Kilmer, for sure, I mean, he may have been probably a lot more reserved than Keaton, even probably as Batman, and that's probably another way he actually kind of won it. Because he was definitely a much better Batman than people say. But anyway, like I said, making this brief, I guess this is the end of this vlog.